Wait Your Queer podcast would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded of the Wurundjeri people. We pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, as this podcast is about storytelling, connecting with one another, and empowering each other to make an impact today and a difference for the future.
This is a non-judgmental platform that tells the individual stories of our queer community. Any homophobia or abuse will be immediately reported.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Wait, You're Queer. I'm one of your hosts, Alyssa Linicus, and this is my beautiful girlfriend, Brooke Cleel.
Hello.
On today's episode, we are lucky enough to have our very first special guest, the fabulously talented Jake O'Brien.
What?
Hi, Jake.
Hi.
So, Jake is a musical theatre performer who has been in the industry for over 10 years. In that time, he's been in world-renowned musicals such as Aladdin, West Side Story, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, and most recently, And Juliet. Jake is one of our best friends, and we are so excited to have him here to share his story. Jake has also recently completed his training as a reformer Pilates instructor, and so I hear is absolutely smashing the early morning wake-ups.
It's hell.
So, let's strap in and prepare ourselves for a story of growing up in the country to moving to Melbourne at the age of 17 and all the stories of coming out in between. We are so excited for this one.
I've only heard a very brief background of Jakey, but now we finally get to hear it from the horse's mouth. So
What'd you call me? Sorry?
I love that. The horse, you horse.
We did say strap-ins.
We're covering a lot today.
So, Jakey, let's hand it over to you.
Let's get into it. Hello, Jake O'Brien here, he, they. Yes, musical theatre performer, and now performing on the floor of a reformer Pilates studio.
Wow.
I know.
I'm so excited to come to one of your classes.
It's definitely a bit of a pivot right now, but it's proving to be a bit fun. It's tough on the voice. My voice is sore from it.
Sounds like raspy, but
It's raspy. I'm trying to make it work. I had a call back for a musical yesterday, and I fully committed to the raspy voice.
I think that we've noticed a theme on our podcast. Now that we have these good mics, we just like try and do ASMR as much as we can.
I don't know if you're going to hear that, but isn't that what they do?
They like eat tiny things.
Yeah. They just
Just watching Jake go. Okay, sorry everyone. So tell us about growing up. Where did you grow up? What was it like?
Right. What was it like? It was good. I was actually born and I couldn't speak. It was crazy. It was so stupid. I don't
Okay.
know why that came to my mind. But
You were born and you couldn't speak.
and yeah, it was tough. I was born in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. We traveled around Australia in a caravan for about 6, 7 years. Very wild thornberries, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
And then moved to Brisbane, did a little bit of school there, moved up to Townsville, and that's where I started picking up dancing when I was year 8, first year of high school. And I, before that, had been a rugby league player, which is my entire family. We're a very football family. And yeah, then finished high school there, moved down to Melbourne at 17, studied full-time dancing, musical theatre, and then the rest is history.
And what? I'm sorry, you go.
Yeah.
There you go, baby.
Yours is probably better.
No, I was just going to say, what rugby team did you play for?
Was it Centrals? Centrals.
Centrals.
Yeah.
Is that like big now, or is that just like a high school team or something?
No, I think there's still a football team in Townsville, but I think the biggest one is Brothers. Brothers, they're everywhere. They're like always a rugby league kind of. Yeah.
I don't know much about rugby league, but
Neither did I.
sounds great. It sounds like fun. Did you enjoy rugby?
I enjoyed certain things. I had a lot of friends in the team. But I was very not a physical person. I like didn't want to tackle anyone. I didn't want to hurt myself,
Yeah.
which doesn't really bode well being in a team for rugby league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of goes against the rules of the sport.
Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And I was also like a little bit like I had some cute little like puppy fat when I was little, and so they put me in like a forward position, which is like the main aggressive people.
Oh,
Yeah.
and how was that being one of the main
Oh,
aggressive
God.
people?
Well, like in the middle, like you're like going and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And then I randomly like lost weight, and then they just put me out in the wing so I could run up and down the side of the field.
It's very heartstopper.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Were you Nick?
Why are we like this?
Why
It
are
was-
you like this?
Hi.
Hi, Charlie.
Oh.
That's good. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so when did the big move to Melbourne happen and why?
2013, my first dance teacher, she just kind of had this faith in me that I could go and make it. And I was like, I don't know. I've only been dancing for about 5 years, I think, prior to that, really.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? Oh, so this is what happened. Everyone in year 12 started looking at universities. But 2012 was meant to be the year that the world ended.
Oh, so
And I'm
why bother looking to unis then?
literally my like that's what I thought. I didn't bother looking into
That is
unis.
hilarious.
Were you a conspiracy theorist to that extent?
I was a very big overthinker,
Oh.
and like I have like intense like anxiety about random things, and that was one of them. I was fully convinced that the world was going to end.
Oh my God.
And I remember going to sleep that night, and this is going to sound so stupid. I laid on my back in bed, and I put my arms crossed, and I just closed my eyes. So if I died, I was just like peacefully asleep like that.
What? Going into
I
2012.
know.
So
Anyway, didn't die, and then I was like, "Fuck!" Well, now I got to figure it out. So I auditioned for a full-time dance school.
So
Got it.
rude.
I got in, and then I was like, you know what? My mum always said like sometimes like the first opportunity is the best opportunity. Like you shouldn't wait around for other things because they might never
So
happen.
true.
Which has been very helpful throughout a lot of things in life. But yeah, that was one where I was like, you know what? I've been offered this experience, so like, why not take it? And then, yeah,
and it's led you to where you are now. So
literally,
that's
I
fantastic.
never thought that.
And do you
Yep.
still speak to that teacher?
Yeah, Tennille. Every time I go back to Townsville, I catch up with Tennille. Tennille always travels to see my shows.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Neil Cooper. You're amazing. Yeah,
Aw.
she's the best.
Go to Neil.
Yeah.
We love a life-changing person in our lives.
Yes, she's a goodie.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Go to Neil.
Love Tennille.
So let's rewind a little
Let's
bit.
go back to high school.
Let's go back to Townsville.
Oh, yes,
Well, that's
yes.
Townsville and high school, same
Yeah.
thing.
So let's go back to Townsville High School.
All right. What about it though?
So what was it like growing up in Townsville?
Okay, Townsville is I like to classify Townsville as a glorified country town that has a man-made beach because it is, and the sand is from the river. And it is it's a cute place, but it's definitely not a tourist place. It's not changing. There's not a lot of culture there.
It's got a high crime rate.
It does have a high crime rate. Yes, there's a lot of car theft as well going on at the moment there. And I mean, they used to have like one gay bar, but even that got shut down a few years ago called the Sovereign. So I wouldn't really necessarily say it's a very gay, queer, friendly
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And I recently went back like to visit family maybe a month or two ago. And I mentioned to my mum that, it does stress me out coming back because I feel like in Melbourne I live such a authentic life. And I can walk down the street in my little shorts and not, give a shit. Whereas like I literally it stresses me out going home that
You have
like
to look over your shoulder.
yeah, kind of thing. And it is where I grew up, but at the end of the day, I moved to Melbourne for a reason.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
kind of discovered your identity in Melbourne, and going back
Totally.
there probably makes you feel a little bit
It
backwards.
Yeah, it feels like you're going back in the closet almost. Arr.
Yeah. And
So talk us through going back into the closet. Like, what was it like coming out in Townsville? And
Well, I'll tell you my full coming out story. Why not? I'll
Let's do
speed
it.
through it.
Speed round.
Speed round. I definitely from a young age have always been I mean, I don't even, again, label-wise, I'm not too sure. But I always knew that I was attracted to, men or boys or whatever, like, and that started literally in, like, preschool. Like, I remember having nap time and someone crawled over the top of me that was a boy, and I remember being like I just wanted to give him a little kiss,
That seems seedy.
I was also 5. Like, we were both 5. And,
so it's acceptable.
yeah.
If you're
Like,
both 5, it's fine.
instead of playing, like, mummies and daddies, like, I played, like, gorillas, where there was, like
I played bears.
I don't but, like, real random stuff, and, yeah, there was definitely a few, like, hiccups along the way, like, mum found out about gorillas, and, she washed my mouth out with soap.
Because you were playing gorillas and not mums and dads
Well, it was because it was with another boy, and we were, like,
being gorillas.
yeah, I don't know, we're probably being a bit frisky for, like, 5-year-olds.
God, Jay.
Yeah.
That's full on for a 5-year-old, I guess. I mean, I guess usually you wouldn't even know about.
But I don't think
Anything, do you?
yeah, I don't think we did it in, like, necessarily a sexual way. It's like, you're young, I don't know, you're just being
No
a
boundaries.
kid.
You're just being
Yeah.
a kid.
And, then, going throughout high school, I feel like a lot of people, used me for experimenting, which honestly was kind of fun.
So would you say
Won't
there was?
complain about it.
Yeah, I won't complain about it.
Would you say like guys and girls?
No,
Or
to be
just
honest,
guys?
I've never really been with a girl.
Mm.
Yeah. I I had I had a girlfriend one time, and the furthest I got was I flicked her nipple. Yeah.
Please share more.
Please.
I was allowed to stay at her house, and she put me to bed. She tucked me in, and I put my hand underneath her shirt, and I flicked her nipple. Then I giggled, and then we went to bed in different
Did
rooms.
she like get turned on by that?
I
or
think
was
she broke
just
up
like,
with me quite soon after.
I was gonna say. So
I
did you
bought
own
her.
it?
However, I did buy her a Pandora bracelet, and then a week later she broke up with me.
So she got the jewelry.
compensate.
For,
Sorry.
for what?
Flick.
I think you just do these things.
No, I was saying like you were compensating.
Oh, the
you
no
know,
sex
fact that
or
you were trying to cover yourself dating
Oh,
a
yeah.
girl.
yeah. But in regards to school, in my year there was about like 10 queer people.
Were they out?
I feel like that's a
Yeah.
lot, isn't it? For like a
Like a lot of
small
us were
town
out.
school.
I'd say
Really?
that's a lot for
Yeah.
anywhere. Let alone
Yeah.
I
a
feel like that
small-
was
yeah.
more than my school.
Yeah, it was more than
And
maybe.
we-
More
Yeah,
than
we
that.
had quite a queer year, and then even the year below us had a lot of queer people,
So
which
do you
was a bit
think
random.
that was
Yeah.
something that helped you navigate your coming out? Like it made you feel a little bit more comfortable to come out because of your environment?
I never was worried about the people around me, like friends and stuff.
Yeah.
It was always going to be family.
Mm.
Because there was a guy coming down to Townsville from Cairns to go see Groove in the Moo. We'd been speaking, and that was the first time I was going to hang out with like another, queer person. And then I told my friends, being like, "Oh, there's a person coming to Groove in the Moo for me," and they were like, "Yeah, cool." And I was like, "Oh no, like he's gay." My friends are like, "I don't care. Like we're not homophobic. Like you can
Yeah.
bring whoever." And I was like, "No, he's like coming for me." And he's like, "Do you mean like a date?" And I was like, "Maybe." And my friend was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh.
And I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Jake, why didn't you have told me like earlier?" And I was
thought
like,
they said
"Oh,
they weren't homophobic.
no, they weren't homophobic. They were just more like, why didn't I tell them?"
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
But
there,
you hadn't
there.
told any.
No,
Yeah.
I told one of my longest friends from Brisbane back when I was like year 8 or 9. Um, but I also didn't. I was like, my whole thing is I didn't know if I was gay or if I was like just meant to be born a girl, because I'd always look at girl clothes and always like hate what having to dress like a boy, which is why I go by he they now, because I get to actually explore my more feminine side, and I get to choose how I want to present all the time.
Yeah.
Half the time I just look like I'm going to the gym, but that's my job now as a reformer Pilates instructor.
Exactly.
But then, I told some other friends. One person didn't really go that well, but now they're out as well, so that's why.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they
Deeply
were
suppressed.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
were deeply suppressed.
I did the whole "it doesn't change anything," and they said, "Yes, it does."
Ah.
I know, and I was
Ah.
like, "Damn." And then years later, they apologized, and they said it was because I was, gay and I didn't know how to tell you, and I think I was just a bit jealous or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that because you do get a bit envious if someone like comes out and you're like, oh, I just don't have the confidence to do that right
Yeah.
now.
I think
And then you start.
a lot of queer people experience that sometimes. Do
Mm.
you agree? Like we've
Oh, yeah.
experienced a few of those situations in our time as well.
I
Mhm.
also think that generationally there would be so many people that still aren't out
Mm,
that are looking at our generation and people living so freely, and they're probably envious. And
yeah,
yeah,
100%. And like their environment shapes them. Like even people our age aren't
yeah,
out,
yeah,
and that's absolutely fine. But it's a lot of the time, some people can find that envious of looking at people
yeah.
who that's where they want to be.
I know. There definitely are factors that would prohibit people from fully living their life to, as authentically as they
Yeah.
can, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. So back to me coming out. It was a after school evening, and I was driving in the car with my mum, and I mentioned something about going to Cairns to see this boy that had come down for Groove in the Moon.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
And she was like, I was very like, I'm going with Mitchell. He's going on the weekend. She's like, why? No, like, since when do you ever go to Cairns? Like, where do you want to go? And I was like, I'm going. And I was very adamant about it. And she was like, is he your boyfriend?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I,
very presumptuous.
Hang on. By this stage, were you starting to dress
no,
like a bit more?
no, it's like Townsville. It's footy shorts and a singlet.
Yeah.
Like, that is like the
Getting fashion.
uniform
Yeah.
in Townsville. I definitely had more of a sense of what I thought was fashion back then. Like, I definitely didn't dress as like a straight person.
Mm.
Like, I did love to get all dressed up and everything. But yeah, and then I didn't know what to say, so I just said to her like maybe, and then she kind of freaked out, and then she was like, "Are you kidding or not?" And I was like, "No," and then she started crying, and I was like, "I am kidding." I just didn't expect the whole. Yeah, it was a bit of a rough
Shock.
one.
Yeah.
Um, my whole family didn't really know how to react, and I thought it was so interesting because I thought it was going to be the complete opposite. I thought they were going to be, yes, Jake, you do dancing. You help mum
Mm.
choose out outfits, and you go
Mhm.
shopping with mum and paint her nails for her, and you're always, been
Yeah.
a bit of a,
Make
like
them look.
emotional
Yeah.
and like very
Yeah.
dramatic
You'd
and
think those signs kind of lead
Yeah.
to them being
yeah.
maybe a bit more understanding or
But
accepting.
I think they probably did know, but they didn't want to believe it,
Mm.
unfortunately. And yeah, it didn't go well for a while, to be honest. But
Yeah.
at that age, as I said, like, I'd been having these feelings since preschool that by high school, I was like, this is me telling you, I don't actually need your approval.
That's the thing. Like, you kind of get to a point where it's like, well, I know what I am.
Yeah.
Either way, if I tell you or not, it's still happening.
Mm.
If you want to be involved in it, you can, or you don't have to be.
Yeah.
And your family, so there's your mum, your dad, and
Yes.
your
My older
brother.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And did you have like any support internally from, say, like your brother? Was he
Um,
with it, or was he?
Look, my brother was always the one probably making fun of me before I came out.
Mm.
But when I did come out, um, he was a little bit supportive, more when my dad was reacting badly.
Mm.
He did definitely stand up for me, which was actually really sweet because he'd never done that before. And then my great grandmother, I bloody love you, Nan Bell. She's passed away a few years ago now, but I was putting her in the car after we went to an all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Um,
Love
Satay Mas, sort of was, if anyone's listening from Townsville.
that.
And I put her in the car and I was like, Nan, I need to tell you something. And she was like, what? Well, she didn't say what. She was like,
She goes, what?
yeah, she's probably
And
like,
why is
what?
this all in the car as
I
well?
don't
Like,
know.
I feel like
It's
with
always
mum.
cars. We're always driving places.
True, true, true.
But I put her in and, like I love my Nan Bell. And I was like, it's always stressful saying goodbye to her because she's not from Townsville. So like, you never know when you're going to see her next.
Mm.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, I've got to tell her. And I put her in, I said to her, I've got something to tell you. And she's like, what? And I was like, I don't necessarily think I'm straight,
Yeah.
you know? And then her response was like, oh, Jake, that is, so wonderful. You've always known who you are. That's so beautiful. And she's like telling me, all these nice things. And I was like worried. I was like, I don't know how to tell anyone else in the family. And she's like, oh, they'll come around. She was
Yeah.
like, don't even worry about them.
Wonderful, wise
And
woman.
she was the oldest generation in our family and the one that reacted the best.
I find that though happens a bit more often, and I
Yeah,
don't know
right.
why, because it was same in my family. My grandparents were so good about like my brother
Yeah.
coming out, but obviously my parents were a lot more in shock, and I've actually heard that a couple of times.
Hmm.
It's a
That
really
people,
interesting little thing. Like
yeah, the older generation,
maybe it is because they're kind of,
they
nearing
realize.
later in their life and they're kind
Yeah.
of like, you know what? Like
Life is
life's
short.
so short and it's not
Mm,
worth hiding.
Yeah.
And like that's what the comment she made, just saying like you've always known who you are, how
mm,
fabulous that is.
Yeah.
Like that's only
She
someone
would
then would know.
she'd be in the backyard like when I first got into dancing. She'd sit there massaging my feet and like pointing them. And then I'd go into
Oh,
the backyard and she'd watch me try and do bloody aerials and cartwheels in my dance routines and she'd made me she was the first
sweet.
person that I sang to. She made me sing to her because I said I wanted to maybe, do musical theater when I was young. Yeah, so I do catch myself whenever I'm in a show or doing something big or going on for a musical for the first time, or if I find myself lacking uh not motivation, but like what's the word? Like when things become stale, like I'll find myself in the wings being like, "Oh, this one's for Nan."
mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
just giving yourself a little motivation
Yeah.
boost and
Yeah.
reminding you why you do things,
Yeah.
basically.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fabulous.
Oh my god, she'd be so proud of where you are now.
She would.
Yeah. I always just picture her like in the wings with me. Yeah.
Oh, a little shout out to Nan.
Yeah. She's the best.
Aw.
Okay, so from this car ride, so up to the car ride with
Yeah.
mum.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then she just kind of cried for a long time that I ended up having to like print out pamphlets saying like back then I just I said that I was just gay, and I printed them out and it said dealing with a gay son or blah 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 because she wouldn't talk to me. So I printed them out and put them on her bed and then she was like she'd get angry at me that I did stuff like that, But eventually everyone came around,
Mm.
Yeah.
I think space as well. Like I moved out at 17. I think
Yeah.
they realize, they've got to be supportive.
Mm.
Yeah.
And now they're so supportive, but
Yeah.
supportive in a way that they'll always be like, "Oh, we tell everyone you're gay." I'm like,
Because that's the most important thing about you.
yeah, I'm like,
Such a parent thing to do.
why is that the one thing you tell them?
Yeah. I remember
Oh, we tell everyone you're
yeah,
gay.
friend once who they moved up to Cairns and
Yeah.
later in life we had a phone call and they turned me on FaceTime to all their friends and go, "Everyone, this is my lesbian friend." And I was like,
Mm.
wow, I don't think I've ever been introduced that way. And also,
No.
that's the least important thing about me.
I
Like, it
feel
is
like it can be
important,
quite
but
offensive
Yeah,
as
but imagine
well,
if we
'cause
walked
it's
around
just
being like, "This is my straight
yeah,
friend."
it's just a
it's
part of it's
someone
just a
you like.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Weird.
It obviously does come into identity to an extent, but
I think it's
But
parents trying to be like, "Look how good I am with it now."
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah,
trying, and
yeah.
that's awesome. At least that at least they are trying. Some
Yeah.
wouldn't even get to that point. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
So,
All right.
all right, that was great, Jake.
Wrap it up.
Thanks. No, that's awesome. So, tell us now. So, everything went well in the end. You moved to Melbourne.
Yes.
What was your experience like moving to Melbourne?
Um, Melbourne was a crazy experience. I was 17 and I didn't know anyone in Melbourne. I moved there because I didn't know anyone. The option was between Melbourne and Sydney,
Mm.
and half of my family is in Sydney from my mum's side, but I just wanted a full fresh start. And it was crazy because this is how I know Alyssa. We started Patrick Studios in 2013 together, so dancing full time. And just like to be surrounded by so many queer people and in such a extremely accepting environment and everyone, living authentically was wild for me. And I do remember being like overwhelmed by it all and, you know,
It would have been such a big
yeah, trying
change.
to find my own feed and navigate dating because I'd never actually dated before, and
Mm.
sleeping with people because I'd not like really slept with anyone like in
Yeah.
Townsville. Like,
And now you're living on your own and you have the opportunity of
yeah,
Be independent.
it was wild. I remember going to get my first ever like sexual health checkup,
Yeah.
and like I remember like the doctor, like I think he saw that I was 17, and he asked me like where I'm from, and I said I moved down here. And I think he was trying, like, he was being like really caring, but he was like, I just want you to like look after yourself, please. And like, you're 17, you're cute or whatever.
Oh.
No.
Quickly.
No. He was meaning in like, you don't know what Melbourne men are going to be like.
Yeah.
He's like, it's almost like you're going to be fresh meat, and like, they're all just like bloody crocodiles or something, and you're being thrown into a river. Like,
Yeah. You,
Like in a way that was really nice of
totally,
you.
totally.
yeah, you didn't expect the Crocs to be in Melbourne. You
No,
think they'd be
they're in
up in Townsville.
Townsville. But it was great. I met. Where did I meet? Do you remember my first boyfriend?
Yeah. Was it out clubbing?
It was a friend's birthday.
I think a lot of experiences back then meeting queer people were like through clubbing experiences and bars or like
Yeah,
events and things like that. So
yeah,
you met your first boyfriend at
yeah. At a
an
friend's
event. Yeah.
birthday. Yeah,
Just friends of friends.
yeah.
and
Friends of
things. Yeah.
friends. That was cute. We dated for a while. Yeah, I don't know. Just that.
What was it like having your first boyfriend though? Tell us about that
In the big
experience.
smoke.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even remember if I had a car. I think the stressful thing was I was living like on Chapel Street, and he lived out near the airport in like Greenvale or something.
Oh, you went there for work the other day.
I did.
Yeah, so it's quite the trek.
Yes. Was he no, just
He was like, no, he was this beautiful Italian guy, and his family was so welcoming to me as well.
Mm.
Which was really, really sweet. But I just think I wasn't prepared for a full relationship like that because it became very serious and very like
yeah.
settled down vibes quite quickly.
Yeah,
you're
and
like,
you wanted to explore.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
more that. And I probably, could have used my words to explain that better to break up. But again, I was like 18.
Yeah, we didn't know how to describe things very well back then, did we?
No,
No.
not at all.
I think we've all been through experiences where we could have definitely
I
done
think it was
things
like a
better.
Facebook status for me.
Oh my God, you did a Facebook status
No,
to
the
break up with
guy
someone.
the guy did one about me, and I came home from work and I found out via Facebook. I like jumped on and I saw he set his status to single.
Oh my god!
And then
Without
I called him. He's like, "Yeah, it's just not working."
what?
God.
He changed his Facebook status to single, and that's
Yeah.
how you found it. That is
And
wild.
then I met my ex-boyfriend 2
Mm.
days later,
Damn.
and he was a hunk of spunk.
Not
You
the hunk
of
of spunk. What are you, a 40-year-old gay guy? How you doing,
Sounds
hunk?
a bit like Kath. You have great hunk of
Oh,
spunk
you big
kill.
old hunk of spunk. Wow.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, have you had any other partners since then?
Yeah, I've definitely dated, but with musical theater, I've been in that now for about 8, 9 years. I'm constantly touring. It becomes hard. I've found beautiful, beautiful men from around the world. Don't get me wrong. No, I've dated an array of different people, all different genders and all different labels, and I don't know. But yeah, it's just been hard with work, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, because you're constantly traveling, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like in a place for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then I leave, and then I'm gone to another place, and it's just a bit hard. That's why I'm enjoying being back in Melbourne at the moment. Reconnecting with friends, and actually like I've gone on a few dates recently. I'm trying to think of any of them bad.
I know
Yes.
Alyssa loves having you back home. With the industry of musical theatre, people are constantly going away.
Yeah.
After obviously studying and dancing in it for so long and then going into teaching, you're like, all my friends just go away. And as soon as you came back,
I know. We all kind of leave Alyssa around the same time as well normally.
We all tee up and
Yeah.
speak about when we're going to
There's
leave
actually
her.
a private group chat, and we said, guys, getting a bit bored of Melbourne.
Let's
Shall
all
we
meet
leave?
Alyssa. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just
And
plan
I'm
it a
just
few weeks apart.
facilitating it.
Brooke's the admin. She's like,
Right, that one's gone. Yeah, and no, it's been good. I've actually got a date on Thursday.
ooh.
Yeah, don't know what to do yet.
Okay, what's it like dating in Melbourne at the moment?
I mean, I've not had any lucks, and if anyone else has, they can let me know. But yeah.
What's your main platform to like meet
Oh,
people?
so I definitely went through a Hinge. Oh my God, I downloaded Field recently. Actually,
Field?
not recently. Maybe it was about 2 months ago. Do you know what
Okay.
Field is?
No, we're
No.
well out of the game.
So Field you can download for if you're into all different kind of kinks and whatnot, but also if you're like a single person looking for a couple.
Okay.
So or like a couple looking for singles.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it as a single looking for a couple. Maybe I want to be a unicorn, We'll see how that
Yeah.
Star of
goes.
the show.
Yeah, all eyes
Amazing.
on me in the center of the ring, just like a circus. And it was fun because, I, matched with all these different people and a lot of like polyamorous relationships. I learned a lot of lingo that I didn't know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Like an E&M, ethical non-monogamous relationship.
And what's that?
I think you're a very like open, communicative couple that explores separately but still
Mm.
are in a relationship with each other.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And is that similar to polyamorous? Or is that a
Yeah.
different thing completely? Polyamory is obviously where you explore.
Hold up, I'm getting my phone out because I want to know this now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Pause right there.
Pause.
But I was under the
Nacho,
impression.
can you tell us?
Can I read it out? Ethical non-monogamy is sometimes also referred to as consensual non-monogamy, is the practice of being romantically involved with multiple people who are all aware of and agree to the relationship structure.
Okay. So that's the ethical part of it. The ethicalness. If we took away the ethicalness, does it make it like deceitful?
Not ethical.
Non-ethical? Okay, interesting. And then so what would be the difference between ethical non-monogamy and polyamory?
Okay. Ethical non-monogamy is an umbrella term, and polyamory is just one way to practice it. Polyamory is having intimate relationships with multiple people at the same time. In other words, you can have more than one romantic partner at the same time. Polyamory is a form of ethical non-monogamy.
Okay. Interesting. And would
Sure.
you say that you fall under any of those umbrellas?
Right now I would say I'm single. Yeah, just
Boy.
that.
Just
It's
that.
just as exciting as it gets.
Fair enough. Would you or have you been open to exploring, ethical non-monogamy?
I think so. I've definitely like had situations in the past where it felt similar to that. Which was fun for a bit.
All right, Jakey. So it's that time of the episode. We are going to ask your question.
Oh my God.
So you came to us and said you want to discuss the terminology around he, they as your pronouns, because I know some people may not quite understand what that means, or from your perspective, what your experience in that is. So, what does
Tell us
he,
now.
they?
Well, I mean, for me, my he they is extreme, like very personal to me. I definitely know that I present a lot of the time as masculine, with, what I wear and how I look. I have facial hair. But my they is a very much deeper internal feeling for me. I've never connected with feeling like a man. I've never felt like I fit in with the boys, in high school. Everyone always knew that I was very different. And like even when I touched on it before, like when I was younger, I always just wanted to wear like, girls' clothes, and I was always envious about like dresses and everything. And I knew that there was a feminine side within me. So like my they is how I connect to myself, but I understand that, it's hard to correct everyone. So the he for me is just there out of like general society would look at me as a he. which, I understand. And I know everyone is completely different. I definitely, I'm not classifying myself as like trans or anything, and like so I understand when people get no misgendered in that sense, that it can be very frustrating and upsetting.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's a very personal feeling. So, even in Reformer Pilates, I know that everyone's like, "Oh, Jake, I loved his class, and I love that he does this, blah blah."
Yeah.
But and I understand that I'm not going to walk around and tell everyone that to call me, he, they, or anything. But a lot of my closest friends will call me they. A lot of my friends, are very like involved in the queer scene, like trans, non-binary. And Juliet, I just met so many amazing performers who are non-binary and trans, and fell under this beautiful umbrella that we had in the show, where it was such a multifaceted cast. It was crazy, um, in the best possible way. And yeah, for me, my they is just, I eventually love to put on makeup and heels and look way more feminine and get my makeup done and
I love it.
explore and change every day. I
Yeah.
don't I think this is a thing, and we discuss it sometimes, but you're changing every day.
Yeah.
And some days you want to be more masculine, some days you want to be more feminine.
I love that.
And that
Yeah.
concept is just becoming more and more common these days.
Yeah, I think you touched on it in your episode with labels as well. Like, it feels like if you put a label on something, that's exactly who you have to be then forever. And instead, it should just be like this society where we all literally live and are just ourselves, and it doesn't matter.
Ever growing, ever changing, just
Yeah,
constantly rolling into a new
literally.
form or version of ourselves every day.
Yeah. So that's my he they story for you.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's awesome. All right. So, not that
Back to the ASMR.
finished up with some sexy ASMR.
Love it. All right, Jakey, any recommendations that you've seen lately? Any books, TV shows, bars?
Ooh. Okay, bar, definitely music room at her. You've probably been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did go there,
Yeah,
actually.
we
Yeah.
did
I
go to
just
the
remember.
music room.
I just
We
like
snuck in, didn't we?
We did. We
Yeah.
snuck into
We
the
snuck
music
in
room.
and we said to this other couple, we can get you in. And then we realized they
That
were
you
like,
couldn't.
just the two of you?
Oh, but
Oh.
we wanted to do it, so we just had to bail on them.
We just had to run. We were like,
Look,
go.
Oh,
we
no.
just met the couple like 5 minutes before,
That's
so we didn't have
fine.
any ties to
That's
them.
fine.
And if they ever listen for whatever reason, I'm so sorry that we lost you.
Sorry.
No, I went recently and I was like, oh, it's so cute in here. I forget. And
Yeah.
then what am I watching? Trash TV, Aussie Shore, literal trash.
How
Oh my
is Aussie
God. Didn't it start
Shore?
yesterday?
No, it started about 3-4 weeks ago now.
Oh.
It is.
okay.
Where have we been?
Yeah.
I didn't think it had started either.
We've been watching MKR.
We've been watching My Kitchen Rules.
Anyway,
Heartstopper.
not okay. Yeah, I watched Heartstopper. Agatha all along.
All along.
Agatha all along. Yeah, I feel like I don't really watch too much TV. Like, I play a lot of games. Yeah,
Fun game.
playing a lot of Overwatch at the moment. Elden Ring. Sometimes the DLC is so fucking hard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Noobs who don't
the
know
nerves.
that.
They're all on my Xbox.
I just said I thought it was Uno.
What? All right, let's wrap this up.
You say board games.
Wrap it up.
You said games.
That's my version.
Uno.
of games.
Oh,
Board games.
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
Not gonna lie, Yahtzee is
Yeah.
a hit.
Okay, so when we were in the caravan, me and my mum played Yahtzee like every day, and Skippo.
I'd be good at Yahtzee.
I don't remember how to play it anymore, but
Should we challenge you to a game after
have you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
it in the
wait, did you play
same-
Skippo? Do you know what that is?
No.
The silence. Okay, never mind. Anyway,
Is that a Townsville thing?
no, it's a card game. It's similar to. It's not similar to Uno. I don't even remember how to play that one either.
All right, Skipper. Thank you for the
Yeah.
recommendation.
Anytime. Well, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, Jakey, so much for sharing your story today. It's been
course.
absolutely amazing. If you want to get in touch with Jakey, it's your IG details.
My Instagram is Jake O'Brien __. What? There's two.
Double.
Yeah.
Love it.
My
Okay.
TikTok is what? Fagatron 2.0. It's because I kept getting cancelled. Not cancelled, but deleted. Someone kept reporting me. I always have my legs out. It's Fagatron with a PH. PHAG. Fag. ET. Yeah, you get it.
All right, love it. Thank you so much, Jakey, for today's episode. Yeah.
Thank you and good night.
Thanks for having us on another episode of
Wait.
You're queer.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.